It's time again for Northwestern Outdoors Radio, the show covering fishing, hunting, and all sorts of outdoor recreation and destinations right here in the region you live and play in. Northwestern Outdoors is brought to you every week by Max Lure Company, makers of the world-famous wedding ring spinner, by Loophole, America's Optics Authority, and by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Northwestern Outdoors is also sponsored by Wallowa County in Northeast Oregon, where you'll find both nature and fun. By Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing, offering you the affordable Canadian fishing trip of a lifetime. And by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors. So grab your fishing rod or hunting gear, load up the boat or lace up your boots, and let's head outdoors with your host, John Cruz.
Spring has arrived in the Northwest, and I think I speak for the vast majority of us in saying it's about darn time. With the arrival of spring, a lot of you are thinking about fishing, about hiking, about wildlife watching, and about spring bear and turkey hunting. We'll be covering the fishing scene this week when we talk to Richard Bryan. He's the president of Kokanee Power, Oregon. He's got some real interesting information about kokanee stocking practices. They figured out a potential way kokanee stocking can be done better to ensure more survivability. He'll also share some upcoming Kokanee Derby fishing dates and give you his take on the best kokanee fishing lakes you'll find this year in the Beaver State. After we talk to Richard, we'll chat with our longtime friend Lance Mers, who will introduce you to a great trout lure that's a real humdinger. We'll transition from fishing during this Max Minute to something a little different after that. If you're like most folks looking for places to camp and recreate outdoors, you probably think of national parks, state parks, or Forest Service lands, but don't overlook Bureau of Land Management lands. There are some really impressive properties stretching from the coast to the inland Northwest. Many of them are very inexpensive to visit and in many cases free to camp at. Not only that, you'll find many BLM lands that offer the chance to get outside in some really uncrowded areas and take in some beautiful vistas. If you like open spaces full of outdoors opportunity, BLM lands are for you, and we'll be talking to a longtime BLM staffer who has got some suggestions about visiting some of the more popular places administered by the Bureau of Land Management in both Oregon and Washington. After that, we've got several new product reviews for you. 2017 is shaping up to be an impressive year for products you can use in the field, on the water, or on the back patio. We'll start off with a couple of conversations we recorded at SHOT Show in Las Vegas, Nevada earlier this year. Our first product review comes from Shane Meisel with Loophole Optics. He'll tell you about the new Tioga line of binoculars they are rolling out this year, and they are impressive. After that, we'll introduce you to the Smoke Pro XXL from Camp Chef, the perfect product to turn you into the most popular chef in the whole neighborhood. And with fishing in mind, particularly fly fishing, we'll take you to the floor of the Central Oregon Sportsman Show and share some audio we recorded about a very unique and new one-man inflatable craft from Maxon Inflatable Boats out of Seattle, Washington. It's called the XPW 240. It's like nothing you've ever seen before, and it looks like it's going to replace those float tubes many anglers have been kicking around lakes over the last 2 decades. On top of that, we've got a couple of big events taking place at Sportsman's Warehouse stores around the nation, and as we do every week, we'll be giving away a $25 gift card from America's premier outfitter when we give you our Sportsman's Warehouse trivia question of the week. But before we get into trivial matters, Matt and Tom are back with another edition of Sportsman Spotlight. This week, it's the feature we're proud to share with you every week, courtesy of the Ag Info Network, and it's sponsored by Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing, offering affordable and fantastic saltwater fishing vacations out of Port Hardy, BC. Find out more at coastwidesportsfishing.com.
This is Sportsman Spotlight with Matt and Tom. It's one of the most frustrating things that can happen to any archer. You put in hours and hours of practice and you finally get the opportunity you've been waiting so long for. Just as you draw, your bow makes the slightest peep of a sound, and just like that, your bounty is gone. Here's Stuck in the Rut member Travis Snyder as he walks us through his preseason bow checkoff list.
One of the things I always check, and I had the guy that set this bow up, is he tied my peep in a knot on both sides and wrapped around that. I do not want that thing moving. We've had in the past peep sights get stuck in the brush, move up and down, and cause a miss. And so that's the first thing. The string loop, same thing. I have them tie knots both sides of it so it can't move. You want to go through and just make sure all your Allen wrenches are tight and that everything is quiet. One of the things I did with this bow, and you pull it back, if it hadn't been drawn in a while, it would make a little suction noise. So I put a little bit of coconut oil on there. That silenced it up. And the other thing is my grip had just a little tiny squeak. I'm really fussy, so I took that off, put some felt behind that. You just want to go through, shoot your bow, draw it back a few times, make sure that everything is just whisper quiet, because I can't tell you how many times we've had elk and deer messed up by them hearing you draw.
I'm right there with you, Travis. Keeping your bow as quiet as possible is a key factor some archers forget about. Thanks again for the quick tips. Thanks for listening to Sportsman Spotlight with Matt Rice.
A quality and affordable fishing adventure is waiting for you off Vancouver Island with Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing. Located in Port Hardy, British Columbia, you can drive or fly to your all-inclusive guided fishing vacation. Whether you're after big salmon, hard-fighting halibut, or a cooler full of red snapper and lingcod, you can catch it all here. Better yet, your lodging, meals, and fish processing are all taken care of. Want one more reason to go? The price. With the Canadian dollar exchange rate where it is right now, your U.S. dollar goes further. Space is limited, so go to coastwidesportsfishing.com to book your trip. That's coastwidesportsfishing.com for an incredible BC fishing adventure.
I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it. Gonna get up before the sun and rise above us.
Welcome back to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. It's the Central Oregon Sportsman Show edition. We are giving you audio from the floor of this great show at the Deschutes County Fairground in Redmond, Oregon. And we are stopping by the Kokanee Power booth, the Kokanee Power of Oregon. And we're talking to the state president. His name, Richard Bryan. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Kokanee Power has been putting on Kokanee fishing derbies for several years now, and you've got another slate coming up this spring and summer. Tell our listeners about them.
Well, we put on 3 derbies, which are major fundraisers for our nonprofit organization. Our 3 derbies this year are going to be at Detroit Reservoir in April. That'll be April 29th. Wickiup Reservoir on June 10th, and Odell Lake is August 19th. They are one-day derbies. They are truly family-friendly events. We keep them friendly. Top prize is $500. We typically pay down to 15th place. And the most exciting part of our derby is the Kids Derby. Kids with a paid adult team are free entries. They compete by weighing in their own top 2 fish and have their own separate division. Every kid will enter. Will come home with something. Top 10 kids get a ranked trophy.
So I understand, even though the limits are like up to 25 fish, you're bringing in your heaviest 5 fish for these derbies. Is that correct?
For Odell and Wickiup, yes, because they're a 25-fish lake. Detroit Lake, because it's only a 5-catch limit lake, the teams will be weighing their top 3 fish.
All right. And I understand that some of these weight have been pretty impressive the last couple of years. You were telling me before we went on the mic here about a 13-pound stringer for kokanee that was weighed in?
Actually, it was 14 pounds. It was 13.99 pounds was the top 5 fish early in the season at Wickiup last year. Our derby was the weekend before Memorial Day, so very early in the season, 5 fish, averaging, it was a 13.99 was his total weight.
I've been in bass tournaments, and I've had 5 bass stringers or 5 bass weighed in that have weighed less than that. That's pretty darn impressive when we're talking about kokanee. Folks, if you want to participate in these, here's the website. It's kokaneepoweroregon.com. We'll repeat that a couple times during this interview here. Member anglers, $35 for each derby. Non-members, $70, but that includes a membership. So if you want to fish the other derbies, they're only $35 after that. And juniors are free with a paid adult team. So again, family friendly, lots of fun. Went up to $500 and do some great fishing in the state of Oregon for what's become a very popular fishery. It used to be kokanee was a niche fishery, and I think things started turning around when folks started flocking to Wallowa Lake around 2008, 2009, when record after record after record was being broken, culminating in a world record kokanee out of that lake.
So right now, to our knowledge, the world record is 9.67 pounds for the state, which is, that's a good size salmon. And you know, these are salmon that we're catching. They are a landlocked sockeye, so it is a red meat fish. And 25 good kokanee, that will fill your freezer very fast.
Oh, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about the status of kokanee because there's been some interesting things going on. And I guess we'll start at Detroit Reservoir, where the state of Oregon was stocking literally thousands and thousands of kokanee fry, but the numbers weren't going up. What was going on there?
So Kokanee Power, we are a nonprofit organization, and our mandate is to do research, education, and advocate for the fishery. So for years, we have been taking net samples at Detroit and Green Peter, and we know that there is a sufficient food population in the lakes to sustain a healthy kokanee population. State of Oregon was stocking 100,000 kokanee in Detroit every year. Well, it turns out when they were stocking them, they were about 1 inch long. Compared to trout that are being stocked, they're 6 inch plus, sometimes up to 8 inches when they're being stocked. The kokanee were being stocked at 1 inch.
So basically, the kokanee became trout food.
That's our theory. It makes common sense to us. So we had the information in hand from what we knew, and there was a model up in Merwin, Lake Merwin up outside of Woodland up there north of Vancouver. That was a fishery that had some challenges. Decade plus ago, not very many people fished Merwin. Now, if you're not up there a couple hours before sunup when PGE opens the gates, you're going to have a hard time finding a parking spot. And what they did is they grew their kokanee, held them in the pen longer, gave them a better quality of food, and grew these guys up to 5+ inches long before they released them. And now it's a fantastic fishery.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when your organization met with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. I can only imagine the biologist saw this and had one of those, oh, I could have had a V8 moments. It's like, geez. Were they a little embarrassed by this? Because it seems, like you said, a very common sense reason why those kokanee were not flourishing and why presumably the trout were getting big in a hurry.
Well, surprisingly, I have to say the state of Oregon has been excellent for us to work with. I know there's a lot of drama going on right now with ODF and W and some other sportsmen's groups in the state, but from our perspective, they've been very approachable, very open, and have been very good partners with us. We had the science behind us from what we had done with our net pulls, and they were very open to the idea. And we sat down, had a meeting with them, had a meeting at ODF and headquarters later on with the state. It was a very easy process to get going on.
That makes me very happy. So has the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife changed their ways when it comes to stocking kokanee? Are they actually holding them longer and releasing them bigger?
Yes and no. What we did is we approached the state, and one of our big projects that we're doing is we said, if we can secure the funding to grow an experimental population in Detroit, let's raise these guys up a little bit bigger. If we can pay for the extra time to hold them in the pens, secure a better quality of food for these guys, pay for the extra food, and then arrange to have them fin clipped so we can track it, will you guys work with us on that? They were absolutely willing to help us with that. Our first batch of experimental 25,000 were launched in October. These guys are in the lake now. They were launched at about 5.5 inches long when they were released. And these guys are fin clipped. And we're going to do this over the next 3 or 4 years for the life cycle of a fish.
Let's turn our attention to kokanee fishing itself. Oregon has gained a really good reputation. It's a great state to go for kokanee. But what I want to ask you about is the best 3 lakes in Oregon State right now for big kokanee and how big they are.
So for this year, a lot of it's just going to be a guess at this point in time because we haven't really got on the water yet. I'd say the top 3 lakes for good size kokanee, I think Wickiup's going to be a great place to go. I think it's going to be bigger fish, but not as many fish. There are guys out there that are going to be able to go out and limit 25 fish a day. Myself personally, if I could go out and catch a dozen of the Wickiup fish a day, I'd be very happy and pleased.
Now, I talked to one angler yesterday who told me he got a kokanee out of Wickiup that was close to 23 inches. I mean, are they really that big there?
Absolutely they are. I'm looking at a picture right now of one last year in August that was 24 inches.
That is that's bigger than the sockeye salmon, a lot of them that are coming up the Columbia every year.
They can be, absolutely, and you can get 25 of these guys a day. 2 anglers in your boat, that's 50 fish a day. That's a lot of fish.
All right, so Wickiup's number 1. Give me 2 more in terms of big fish destinations. Is there anything west of the Cascades?
Yes, so right on the line, my favorite lake overall has got to be Odell. And I think Odell is really the honey hole when it comes to the best combination of quantity versus quality. So Odell, very easy to go out and get your limit every day. But they're not going to be as big of a fish as Wickiup, but they're going to be that sweet spot between quantity and quality.
And one last one, you got about 10 seconds.
I think the other lake that's going to be fun to try this year is going to be Detroit. The fish are already getting some good reports back. There's 12, 14-inch fish in the lake right now.
Well, there you go. There's some great places to go. A, fish some derbies, and B, catch some big kokanee. If you want to find out more about Kokanee Power in Oregon, go to their website. It's kokaneepoweroregon.com. That's kokaneepoweroregon.com. They're doing some great stuff for kokanee fisheries in the Beaver State. Check them out, join them, and join in on the fun. Richard, thanks so much for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
It ain't much, but if you bail, it'll float. I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it.
The road is calling you to experience one of Oregon's 7 wonders, the Wallowas. So grab your camping equipment and fishing gear and head out to Northeast Oregon, where you'll find the views are endless, the air crisp and clean, and the water's cold and clear. Set up camp by the shores of Wallowa Lake or in the heart of the Wallowa-Whitman National Forest. Take your fishing gear and cast your bait into the deep waters of Wallowa Lake, or roll your fly into one of the eddies of the many freestone creeks and rivers teeming with fish. This summer, take the road that leads to wonders. It begins at WallowaCountyChamber.com.
Sportsman's Warehouse is America's premier outfitter and has the quality gear you need for hunting, fishing, camping, and more. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff will help you find the right product so you get the most out of your time in the field or on the water. In addition to stocking superior clothing and outdoor equipment, we offer in-store events and seminars so you can enjoy a successful adventure. With over 70 stores located in the United States, it's easy to find a Sportsman's Warehouse store near you. Find out more at sportsmanswarehouse.com.
You're back with more of the great outdoors on Northwestern Outdoors Radio with John Cruz.
Yep, it's that time. It's time for another Max Minute from Max Lure Company. And with us here again is Lance Mers. Last week, we told you about the glow fly for trout fishing. This week, we're going to tell you about another lure that you might want to consider for some spring trout fishing. It was originally made by Shasta Tackle, which has been acquired by Max Lure Company, and now there's a great new lure here in the Northwest that's going to help you catch more trout. What is it, Lance?
It's called the Max Lure Humdinger, John. And the reason why this lure is so effective is that you can use it for virtually anything. Troll this, jig this. You can cast it from the shore. It is fantastic all-around lure.
So it's got this bent body to it. It basically almost looks like a crippled herring, or I should say more like a crippled minnow in the current size it's at. And I'm guessing that bend in the body is what gives it all of its action.
That's right. And the water displacement, when it's in the water, it does give out a hum. So when I'm fishing this on a troll, for instance, I won't use a dodger. I won't use anything. I will fish this bare naked. I'll rub a little bit of scent on the body, maybe tip it with a piece of corn or a maggot or something like that, and let it do its job.
All right, well, it's the Humdinger. It operates both with action and acoustics, and it looks like it's going to catch some trout out of a lake near you. Look for it at maxlure.com or at a sporting goods store near you.
Want to put a smile on your face? Start off by putting a smile blade from Max Lure Company on your line. Max smile blades come in different sizes and spin at slow speeds, not like those metal blades on other lures. Buy them separately or on ready-made rigs like the wedding ring spinner, double whammy, wally pop, and more. Smile blades work for trout, bass, walleye, as well as other species, and when that fish hits, you'll have a grin on your face that won't go away. The Smile Blade, only from Max Lure Company.
Want to earn a serious reward? You can, and all you need is a fishing rod. There's money to be made catching northern pike minnow. We'll pay you cash to catch them. Pike minnow eat our salmon and steelhead, and that's no good. The season starts May 1st, runs through September, and the more fish you catch, the more you earn. How much money can you make from this program? Well, last year, one angler earned a cool $100,000. Find out more at pikeminnow.org. That's pikeminnow.org. Go ahead, collect your reward.
A quality and affordable fishing adventure is waiting for you off Vancouver Island with Chad's Coast-Wide Sports Fishing. Located in Port Hardy, British Columbia, you can drive or fly to your all-inclusive guided fishing vacation. Whether you're after big salmon, heart-fighting halibut, or a cooler full of red snapper and lingcod, you can catch it all here. Better yet, your lodging, meals, and fish processing are all taken care of. Want one more reason to go? The price. With the Canadian dollar exchange rate where it is right now, your U.S. dollar goes further. Space is limited, so go to coastwidesportsfishing.com to book your trip. That's coastwidesportsfishing.com for an incredible BC fishing adventure.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a nationwide group working to keep public lands in public hands. We've helped ban the use of drones for hunting. We help repair wildlife corridors in key riparian areas. We speak up against illegal ATV use. Please join this dynamic conservation group. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're broadcasting from the Bighorn Show in Spokane. That's where we ran across Jeff Clark. He's with the Bureau of Land Management, and he's done a lot of work over the years with the BLM in both Washington and Oregon. And with that in mind, we thought we'd talk to Jeff about some of the more popular places to recreate on BLM properties here in the Northwest. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, Jeff, let's go ahead and start off with Washington State, because that's where we're at today. When it comes to Eastern Washington in particular, what's one of the more popular places for people to recreate than, people who enjoy fishing and hiking and that sort of thing?
Well, our most popular place in Washington is probably got to be the Yakima River Canyon, where we've got 4 different campsites. Everybody likes to float the river. There's also a lot of great fishing there and some hiking trails. And in one of our places, we've got the Umtanim site that has a footbridge, and that's the only foot access across the river. So that's very popular to get up in the hills and go hiking.
As a matter of fact, I know that is probably one of the more popular spring wildflower hikes that you're going to find in the entire Northwest.
Definitely. And then you've also got a lot of wildlife to see. There's bighorn sheep. There's a lot of raptors flying around. So it's really wonderful.
And the other great thing, of course, about the Yakima River Canyon is that this portion of the Yakima, folks, is a blue ribbon trout stream, the only blue ribbon trout stream in Washington State, where you can get into some really fantastic catch and release trout fishing with trout easily averaging 12, 14, up to 16 inches.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, well, let's turn our attention from the Yakima Canyon to maybe somewhere closer to Spokane. Where do a lot of people from Spokane like to go recreate on BLM land?
So there's not a ton of places around Spokane with for BLM, but one that is very close, only about 35 minutes away, is the Fish Trap Recreation Area. And you've got a number of things there. You've got Hog Canyon Lake, which also has really good ice fishing in the winter. There's tons of great hiking. There's a waterfall that's seasonal. There's a wetlands. There's some cultural things with the Folsom Farm. So there's tons of great things to go out and look at there. And it, of course, is fee-free.
And, it's funny because you always hear about state parks to go visit here in the Northwest. I don't care what state you're in, you're going to hear a lot about those. The national parks, of course. The U.S. Forest Service does a pretty good job of promoting what they have. But the BLM properties, they always fly under the radar, and it's a shame because there's really some great recreational opportunities, number one. And number two, the fees to recreate on BLM lands are either A, really low, or B, non-existent.
That's right. And one of the things that makes people really enjoy BLM lands is there's also not a ton of overdevelopment, so there's a much more rustic kind of feel, and there isn't the fees, as you just mentioned. But the reason that it does fly under the radar is because we're so scattered. It's kind of like the lands that no one else wanted, so we got those, and then it's hard to, you can't sign it like you can like a national forest, Otherwise, we'd be every 2 miles, you'd see another sign. You're now leaving BLM, now you're entering BLM, now you're leaving BLM, so it doesn't really work that way. So we're kind of scattered, but we're also a lot easier to work with as far as being able to do a lot more things because we do have that multiple use and sustained yield mission. So it works well for people that aren't looking for a really developed experience.
Let's head down to the state of Oregon because we're going to talk about a couple of BLM lands that are about as opposite as they can be in terms of experience. And I guess we'll start off on the coast. One of my favorite places to go is in Newport. Tell our listeners about the BLM property there.
Yeah, Yaquina Head is a spectacular lighthouse that's right on the coast, right outside of Newport. And then we've also got a fantastic interpretive center there that is really, really spectacular. It's second to none as far as quality, and you really learn a lot about not just the history of the area and the lighthouse, but you can also take tours. A lot of the people that give the tours are wearing traditional clothing from that era, and then there's hiking around, and of course there's the tide pools. There's tons of wildlife. I mean, it is really, really a wonderful area to go to.
And folks, bring your binoculars, because when it comes to the wildlife, you're going to see lots of birds. And we're not just talking birds that are on the ocean. There's even peregrine falcons there.
Yeah, there is. We even had a burrowing owl that was up there. Yeah, there's tons of falcons. Not only are they there, but they're even breeding there and actually nesting. So a lot of times you can see the babies. There's also seals, and a lot of times that you see their pups, and you can see the young falcons as well. So it's really a wonderful trip for the whole family.
It really is. And if you look a little bit further out, past the rocks where the seals and the sea lions are, good chance, especially this time of year, you're going to see some of those migrating gray whales that are heading back north to Alaska. So definitely a fantastic location, heading all the way across to the other side of the state, near the border of Idaho, though, is a very different experience.
That's right, and it's one that is really under the radar. I mean, because it's a little remote, but Leslie Gulch is fantastic. I mean, you can drive on this road to get down to the Oahe River, and there's a campground down there, but when you're driving down there, you're going through a canyon that is just spectacular. And there's a good chance that you'll see some wildlife. Bighorn sheep are out there, and you've got some raptors again. And then the Oahe is spectacular. It's a wonderful trip. You can go farther up. You can get on at the Rome boat launch and float all the way down to that campground. So it's really cool.
So folks, in addition to the experiences that Jeff just told you about, let me tell you a little bit more about the Oahe, because this is a fantastic trout stream, especially if you are in love with brown trout and rainbow trout. Bring your fly rod, fish that stretch below Oahe Reservoir. It's good almost all year long, and there's even a hot springs that's down there at a little day use area as well. It's kind of nice to soak your bones after a long day of casting. And don't forget to go up to the reservoir, because that's great fishing for both bass and crappie, and there's a state park up there too. So the Oahe, great place to go to experience BLM lands, and that's just a couple. I mean, we have literally just touched the surface. If people want to find out more about recreating on BLM lands, whether it be in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, or Montana, is there an overall site we can steer them to, or is it kind of a state-by-state basis?
So there's a number of different things you can do. One is you can just go to blm.gov and then do a search for whatever area you're looking for. The other thing is you could go to recreation.gov, and then that's where you'll find more information about specific sites. And again, you can search whatever state or even area that you're looking for, and those are your best options.
All right. They're your Bureau of Land Management lands. Go ahead and check them out. If you're looking for some really unspoiled recreation, and more than likely you're going to be by yourself, these BLM properties are definitely worth checking out throughout the Northwest. Jeff, thanks for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
No problem. Thank you.
Want to earn a serious reward? You can, and all you need is a fishing rod. There's money to be made catching northern pike minnow. We'll pay you cash to catch them. Pike minnow eat our salmon and steelhead, and that's no good. The season starts May 1st, runs through September, and the more fish you catch, the more you earn. How much money can you make from this program? Well, last year, one angler earned a cool $100,000. Find out more at pikeminnow.org. That's pikeminnow.org. Go ahead, collect your reward.
Looking for a quality fishing adventure that won't break the bank? Then head to Canada for an all-inclusive fishing vacation with Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing. Big salmon, halibut, snapper, and lingcod are waiting for you off Vancouver Island. But space is limited, so book now at coastwidesportsfishing.com. That's coastwidesportsfishing.com.
Today's line of portable camp stoves from Camp Chef have come a long way from your father's propane stove, featuring matchless ignition, more cooking power, and in some cases a built-in grill or extra burner. Look for the complete line of Mountain Series stoves at your local sporting goods store or online at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Leupold Gold Ring Optics are built to perform at the highest level, shot after shot, year after year. Our rifle scopes, binoculars, spotting scopes, rangefinders, and more always come through when you need them most. That's why our American-built products have a lifetime guarantee. Or as we like to say here at Leupold, they are guaranteed for a lifetime of performance, not a lifetime of replacement. Find out more about our top-quality gear and our lifetime guarantee at Leupold.com. Leupold, America's optics authority.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and we've got several product reviews for you. And we're going to start off by heading back to SHOT Show in Las Vegas, Nevada, where two incredible products are on store shelves now just for you. Next on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we're broadcasting from SHOT Show in Las Vegas again. We're talking with Shane Mizell. He's with Leupold & Stevens, based out of Beaverton, Oregon. And you already make several great lines of binoculars, but it's 2017. You've got another line of binoculars coming out, the Tioga line. Tell our listeners about it.
Yeah, it's our BX2 Tioga HD binocular. It's bringing HD quality lenses and HD quality image to a price point that more of us can afford.
So hold on right there. HD. Okay, I know what HD high-definition TV is, but how does HD relate to binocular lenses compared to what you previously manufactured?
It's very similar to what you would think from television. If you remember your old televisions trying to watch a sports game or something like that, it's grainy, it's a little bit more difficult to see. You have this new HD television and that image just pops. It's crisp, it's clear, the colors are bright. It's the same thing with optics. We use different lenses and different coatings to make sure that you have a crisp image. Color fidelity is right on, your resolution is beautiful, and so what you're looking at 100, 200, 300, 400 yards away is like it's standing right in front of you.
You know, one thing I love about Leupold optics is how well they gather light in low light situations. Does the same apply for HD lenses?
It does. So HD is a little bit more about the color, but what we have done to this is we've added our Twilight Max light management system to it, which is the same coating system we put on our VX3i rifle scopes and our VX6 HD rifle scopes. It's the best thing that's out there. And what it does is it optimizes all the light that comes through. So rather than gathering light, what you're really trying to do is make sure that the light that's passing through the system is optimized for what your intended use are. So it focuses on contrast, it focuses on total light throughput, and it focuses on reduction of glare.
So this sounds like a great tool, the Tioga line of binoculars, whether you're out there in the early morning or last light, glassing for game, or whether you're a bird watcher that's just out for a walk and you really want to get that pop and that definition and really see that bird up close and personal. Sounds like the Tioga is probably something that folks want to have.
Absolutely. This is a must for any hunter. If you're going to be glassing or birding and spending a lot of time behind the glass, you're going to want this HD quality image because it will reduce eye fatigue and make sure you have a much better experience out in the field.
Let's talk about the sizes that this binocular comes in. Are we talking 8x25? Are we talking 10x42? What are we talking about here?
We're talking about multiple sizes here. So we have an 8x32, 10x32, 8x42, 10x42, 10x50, and 12x50 available. So really almost anything for anyone's needs.
All right, it's the Tioga line of binoculars, brand new from Leupold, high definition. It's going to make those images pop. So look for the Tioga binoculars. The price point?
Starting out at $329.99.
That's not bad. For what you're getting here, that's not bad at all. So look for the Tioga binoculars. They're made by Leupold & Stevens right here in the Northwest, out of Beaverton, Oregon. And you can find them at all the regular places that you shop, Sportsman's Warehouse, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, and quality sporting goods retailers near you, or online at Leupold.com. That's Leupold.com. Shane, thanks as always.
Thank you, John.
All right, continuing from the floor of SHOT Show here on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we're at the Camp Chef booth. And Camp Chef, a few years ago, came out with the Smoke Pro. Yeah, the Smoke Pro is, for lack of a better word, it's a pellet smoker, and it makes some incredible food, but they have upped their game. I am standing in front of the one and only existing Smoke Pro XXL.
This thing is gargantuan. It looks like a fantastic cooking machine. With us here to tell us more, Brooks Hansen with Camp Chef.
Yeah, so John, you take a look at this product. We've been manufacturing smokers for quite a while. We've had our pellet grills out in the line for about 3.5, 4 years. They've been super popular. People are loving to get on that bandwagon, cooking excellent barbecue. We also had our smoke vaults, and the smoke vaults have been awesome. Still a great product for us, a really great smoker. And so what we've done is we've combined the best of both worlds. This is one of the first upright vertical pellet grills out there. When I say pellet grill, I got to be real careful on that term because it's really a pellet smoker. We've gone ahead and changed the control unit on this a little bit from our traditional pellet grill. This one is more of a smoker. The cool thing about this is you have a ton of cooking space. You look at the control unit like I was just talking about, it's going to control temp down to 150, so it's getting about 30 degrees lower than the pellet grill. And its high temp is 350 degrees. So more like smoking, where the pellet grill can get up to 450, close to 500. You can get a little hotter temp there to bake, or maybe try to sear a meat or something on that nature on the pellet grill. The XXL, more of a smoker. It's going to come with 7 racks. You've got 3 jerky, 4 regular racks, and it's also got 2 hanging racks to hang like sausage. So sausage hanging racks across the top. This is like a legitimate smoker for somebody that really wants to get into smoking meat, whether they're going to do it commercially or just on their home patio.
So here's another question for you. How is it powered? A lot of your products propane powered. Is this propane or electric?
It's a pellet smoker. It runs off premium hardwood pellets. We have a bunch of varieties and a premium all-natural hardwood pellet, no additives. Hoppers on the side. There's an auger that feeds the firebox or the fire pot. That fire pot's got a hot rod, ignites it, and it's going to run your smoke right there. That's your heat source, is that true wood fire, and it is electric.
Well, this looks absolutely fantastic. And again, like you said, if you are into smoking meat, smoking fish, you are going to want the Smoke Pro XXL. Again, this is the only one in existence. You got to make some more. When are they going to hit the stores?
You're going to see them midsummer 2017.
All right, look for it. The Smoke Pro XXL, made by Camp Chef. They're the ones that know the way to cook outdoors. And you can go to their website, probably around that time too, and check it out at campchef.com. Brooks, thanks.
You bet. Thank you, John.
All right, we're leaving Las Vegas and we're heading to Redmond, Oregon. That's where we caught up with Greg Mills with Maxon Inflatable Boats.
Next up on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we got a product review for you. I stumbled across something really interesting at the Central Oregon Sportsman Show. It's a very unique-looking personal watercraft that fly anglers in particular are going to love. It's made by Maxon Inflatable Boats out of Seattle, Washington. And with us here to tell you more about it is the Vice President, Greg Mills. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. How are you today?
I'm doing good. So this is the XPW 240, and it's not like any raft I've ever seen before. It's shaped like a fat U. There's a seat in the middle. You got a little transom back there to put an electric motor on. And in terms of how the profile is, it's got this very, very low profile. How does this work?
Well, John, we've been building rafts for about 30 years, and in conjunction with our Maxon Outfitters fly fishing division, we know that our anglers needed a craft that they could put into a backpack and carry into those secret fishing holes that they might have that they don't want their friends to know about. So we've got an inflatable boat that's about 7'8" in length and a 4-foot beam. So when inflated, it slides easily into the bed of your pickup truck, or uninflated, naturally it can go into a bag and be toted anywhere. It has a low profile, about 6 inches high, which is really important in the high lakes area here because a lot of cataract boaters or pontoon fishermen, they fight the wind sometimes, causing them to drift off of their little honey holes. And so we knew that if we could build a low-profile boat that was easy to carry, lightweight, sturdy, with all the features that can be customized by the angler, we might have a pretty good idea for her.
Well, I like it a lot. Number one, there's a place to tie on your fly rod. There's a couple of pockets where you can put your lunch, you can put your gear that you need to have. There's foot pegs so you can get your feet out of the water. And, of course, there's oars as well that are attached right to this personal watercraft. And, again, I really like that transom back there. So, if you got like an electric motor, an extended handle, you can really move around a lake in a hurry.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the features that our anglers notice most is our grommet system. You see these these grommet attachment systems in most regular marine type boats, Zodiac type working boats. This way the angler can configure it and carry any kind of gear, coolers, their dog, or whatever they want. It has a weight carrying capacity of over 600 pounds, and it only weighs 46 pounds all in, oars, gear, and everything.
I'll tell you what, folks, if you were looking for something that'll slide right into the back of your pickup truck, the XPW 240 from Maxon Inflatable Boats is probably what you're looking for. I really am impressed by what you have here. Where can folks buy this?
In Central Oregon, our dealer is the Camp Sherman store. In Portland, you can go to the Inflatable Boat Center in Portland, and so far that's our distribution. We support our retailers. We don't sell directly online to the end user. Well, that can or cannot be a questionable practice, but we believe that our anglers deserve an education when they shop for our product, and our retailers can provide that education for them.
So you are based out of Seattle. Is there anywhere out of Washington or Idaho or Montana where people can buy these boats?
Well, it's a brand new boat. It's only 3 months old. You can give us a call in Seattle at the Evergreen Products Group, and we happily find you a dealer that is just getting into this boat. You can also see our boats on MaxonOutfitters.com and certainly on Facebook at Maxon Inflatable Boats or Maxon Outfitters Facebook pages.
All right, so again, it's Maxon Outfitters. That's MAXXON Outfitters. Probably go to their website for your first stop, and then you can go from there in terms of, again, finding places to buy the XPW 240 and some of the other inflatable boats they have as well. MaxonOutfitters.com. Greg, thanks for telling us all about this very unique personal watercraft on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for having us on your show.
This is the time of year to get out and cook out. So make your next meal sizzle with Camp Chef, the brand known for quality outdoor cooking. From camp stoves to cast iron, from smokers to grills, Camp Chef will change the way you cook outdoors. To eat like a king on your next adventure, go to campchef.com or visit your local sporting goods store and get cooking. Whether you're serving breakfast in the backcountry or barbecue on the back patio, savor the simplicity with Camp Chef. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Leupold has been building optics in Oregon since 1907, and Leupold binoculars bring excellent optical performance and modern styling to the serious outdoorsman. Whether you're a boater, birder, backpacker, or hunter, Leupold's state-of-the-art binocular lines are sure to fit your needs. From the Poro Prism Yosemite series to the top-of-the-line McKinley Roof Prism, Leupold has a product that is perfect for the passions you pursue. Visit Leupold.com or your local Cabela's, Bi-Mart, or Sportsman's Warehouse to see the full line of Leupold optics.
Sportsman's Warehouse is America's premier outfitter and has the quality gear you need for hunting, fishing, camping, and more. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff will help you find the right product so you get the most out of your time in the field or on the water. In addition to stocking superior clothing and outdoor equipment, we offer in-store events and seminars so you can enjoy a successful adventure. With over 70 stores located in the United States, it's easy to find a Sportsman's Warehouse store near you. Find out more at sportsmanswarehouse.com.
We've got time for one more shot of Northwestern Outdoors Radio with John Cruz.
We've got a couple of upcoming events to tell you about at Sportsman's Warehouse stores. One of them is kicking off this weekend. It's the Sportsman's Warehouse Spring Sale, and there are some great deals to be had at Sportsman's Warehouse stores near you. If you want to know exactly what they are, look for the insert in your local newspaper or just go to your local Sportsman's Warehouse store and find out. Get ready for some great deals. Speaking of great deals, the annual Sportsman's Warehouse Ladies Night is taking place April 6th. It's 6 to 8 or 6 to 9 p.m. in most stores. This event is just for the ladies that enjoy the outdoors. There's going to be seminars, there's going to be in-store discounts, there's going to be raffles and giveaways. As a matter of fact, at the Hillsboro store, the first 50 ladies through the doors are going to get a Sportsman's Warehouse swag bag and a rose to go with it. Again, that's Ladies' Night, April 6th at Sportsman's Warehouse. And now, it's time for your trivia question of the week. And yes, boys are invited back in the pool. Did you know the world record kokanee was caught right here in the Northwest? It's true. The monster fish weighed 9 pounds and 10 ounces and was reeled in by Pendleton, Oregon angler Ron Campbell on a sunny June day in 2010, who was fishing one of the more beautiful lakes you'll find in the United States. Here's your question. What lake was this record kokanee caught from? If you know, go to our Facebook page at Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Look for the post, like our page, and then give us your answer there. Or you can go to our website at northwesternoutdoors.com, go to our Contact Us page, and give us your answer there. Again, what lake was the world record kokanee caught from right here in the Northwest? We can't wait to give away that $25 gift card we give away every week from Sportsman's Warehouse. The snow is rapidly melting, and in many places in the Northwest, it's gone. That means it's time to hit the lakes, the trails, and maybe even the campgrounds. Until next time, take care, God bless, and make it a point to spend some time outdoors.